am so excited to be here tonight and have the honor of introducing Priscilla Sims Brown for this inaugural award. Priscilla serves as the president and CEO of Amalgamated Bank, and she works tirelessly as a champion for social and financial equity. In addition, she has proven to all the naysayers that a public company can do very well by doing good. I'm sure you've read her bio and you know the impressive credentials that underlie an extraordinary leader of courage, vision, and talent. Priscilla's personal story, though, is a remarkable one. She witnessed courage and leadership up close in the example set by her own parents, who came to New Mexico from Ethiopia as students in the 1950s. When they returned to Africa, Priscilla remained in the United States and later spent time in Germany. Her first role model was her mother, who served as Ethiopia's first woman senator. Yeah. So she's continuing a legacy, too. Her family reunited several years later after a government coup forced her parents to flee Ethiopia. In time, her parents established a nonprofit organization to assist Ethiopian refugees. These experiences showed Priscilla the importance of leaning into change rather than fear it. They gave her the self-assurance to build a remarkable career, to become an important voice on pressing issues, and to empower others struggling to be heard. Now, it doesn't matter where you hear Priscilla speak, if it's on CNBC, PBS, at the Milken Institute, or read about her in the New York Times or Time Magazine. What you witness every time is a leader who is passionate about making the world a better place. She represents the torchlighter leadership by illuminating, inspiring, and motivating others. And as someone who works with her every day, I can tell you she's been known to take that torch and light a fire under people to get results. Named one of the most powerful women in banking in 2023 by American Banker, I am honored to present the Institute for Women's Leadership Torchlighter Award to Priscilla Sims Brown.
How can I speak now? I didn't expect that. That was a bit more personal than I thought, and I don't know where you got all that information. We will have a conversation later. And I'm a little bit, that was a different intro. I've never gotten that. Okay. However, look, I mean, wow, this room goes all the way back. There's a lot of people here. And how amazing is that? And I'm grateful. I am first recognizing the land upon which we stand and the ancestors who came here before us. Many of them women, and many of them unrecognized, not in history books, but they are why we are here. I'm also grateful for the people who are serving us. They're so incredibly pleasant, and they've been constantly asking us if we'd like more to drink. And I've said yes, and then I've heard this. And they've been so thoughtful in the setting of the table and in all the words spoken. I'm grateful for the Institute, and that's personal too, isn't it? I don't know those of you who are involved in the Institute, except for my dear friend here, Marge. But I do know something about you. I know that you did it because it was personal. I know that every woman thought about the women that are the reason you are here. You thought about the women who made you proud. You thought about the women who told you something you needed to hear, even if you didn't think so. It may have been your grandmother, it may have been the woman at the grocery store, and it may have been your teacher. Often it was your teacher. It may have been a woman that did not achieve what she wanted, but could have if she had just been given the opportunity. It may have been a woman who you admired because she did. But you saw yourself in her, and you knew that if you saw yourself in her, someone might see themselves in you, and that's why you did this, and we are grateful. Thank you. I'll just say a little bit. I feel like now I shouldn't say anything about myself. Marge said so much, but I want to say a little bit about the thing I do now. I've had a long career since those days in New Mexico. I've had a long life since those days in New Mexico, and but it started in financial services, spent a little time in journalism, and then it was financial services. And for a number of years, some corner of my desk was spent focusing on the corporate citizenry, the community service, the citizenship of the company in the communities in which our employees and customers lived and worked. But it was always a corner of my desk. Most recently, well, for 18 years, it was Lincoln Financial, and then most recently, before coming here, it was the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, where we had an 800-person vulnerable customer unit, 800 people working to serve the least of these. You shouldn't need 800 people in a bank to serve the least. There shouldn't be that many vulnerable customers, but there are. And there are even more here. And finally, someone gave me a call. I was in Australia looking at this country. It looked like Rome was burning, you guys. You couldn't figure out COVID, and you had, it was terrible. That wasn't a political statement. And I was watching this from afar, and somebody called and said, there's a bank looking for a CEO, and it's called Amalgamated. And I looked it up. This is a bank that you'll find interesting. It was started by women. They were what were called needle trade workers, textile workers. They formed the Amalgamated Clothing Workers Union, but they couldn't get banked. And that's because they were mostly Eastern European, mostly Jewish immigrants to this country, and they couldn't get banking services. So they started a bank 101 years ago. And 101 years later, this bank is now serving not only those women, but 6 segments of what we call change makers. I think we should change it to torchlighters. But these are everybody in politics, from Biden and Harris on down to your county commissioner. It's people who work on climate problems. 40% of our lending is to climate-related things. It's people who care about social justice and economic justice. They're all change makers. These are commercial clients of ours across a lot of different segments, and we serve them. And we serve them because we know that if we move money to the front lines of change, people will have access to capital that haven't had it in the past, and maybe we can get some things done. So I'm very proud of those women, and a few of my colleagues, a group of women sitting around the table over here, the modern day version of those women, our general counsel, the woman that leads our largest region, the woman that runs our marketing function, communications, risk, legal, and the one who bosses me around the most, client engagement. These are the leaders of this company. 65% of us look like us, and we're very proud of that. So we will be telling this story about this institute and the amazing work you do for a long time. You've now a new friend, in addition to Marge. I'm sure that was the underlying reason why she did this, so that we would be as committed to this effort here as we are in other places, and she is as well. Thank you, Institute. Thank you, every woman and every man in this room who has done something to lift up a little girl or a woman. Appreciate it.